So I'm just going to start with Lewis, just kind of brushing the eyebrows up. We're going to do quite a graphic, sort of alternative smoky eye today. So just look at something quite fun. Harry Makes It Up is all about no rules. So whether you're a boy or girl, however you want to wear makeup, just enjoy it and just experiment. So I'm just going to add a little bit of base to Lewis's skin, and I'm just using, this is quite a natural one. This is Evermatte by Clarins. So I'm going to use a bit of 107 and 105 just mixed together. So I'm just going to start using a Real Techniques buffing brush on the skin. And I prepped Lewis's skin already, and we put a little bit of lip balm on just so that the skin's nice and clean for when we come to doing the rest of the face. And this is quite a light foundation, so it's nice and fresh on the skin. Just close your eyes to me. I'm going to go a little bit over the eyelid with this because it's a matte foundation, so I don't need to worry too much about it creasing, as long as you put a small amount on, and just watch around the nose as well. And any redness in the ears you might want to take down a little bit with your foundation, just to even things out. And don't forget the neck as well. Just add a little bit. And you can always use a clean brush as well, just to go in and buff that as well, just to make sure everything's really clean. I'm going to use a tiny bit of concealer. Using a Real Techniques, this is a pointed foundation brush. So using my Bobbi Brown palette, I'm just going to take a little bit of concealer to use on Lewis under the eye area. And I'm just going to use a little bit of a MAC 214 brush. So I'm just going to, just a tiny bit under the eye area, just to keep it nice and bright and clean. So we do quite a nice graphic eye. And I'm just going to use this as well anywhere where there might be some redness showing, so just around the nose. Just to make sure the area's really nice and clean. A little bit over the nose. Just a little bit there. We can do any kind of last minute corrections anywhere when we finish. I don't tend to powder till I finish right at the end, because it makes it a lot easier anyway for you. So I might even add a little bit of an interesting brow. We'll just kind of make the brows a bit more full and a bit more dramatically shaped with a bit of powder. So I'm going to use a bit of Coffee by Laura Mercier. It's just an eyeshadow, but it makes a really good base as well. And I'm going to use a MAC 266 brush just to do that. So I'm just going to run some of that powder through the eyebrows to make them a bit more defined and a bit more fierce. Just pulling it out. I'm just going to ignore the hairs here. That's the thing. If you're doing quite a strong brow, you can just ignore certain hairs and just draw past them. I'm just going to create Lewis's arch a little bit further out. And then just check. The shape that you're making is the shape you want. I'm just going to make that quite exaggerated. And then you can use something like a Muji cotton bud, a very thin hard one that's not fluffy, just to kind of pull your shape out even more. You can just drag it through, just kind of clean up as you go, and that will just make it more kind of pointed at the end as well. Okay? And then doing the other side. Down. Okay, and even with your finger with this kind of, you can still manipulate where you're going to put the powder, but I just want to make the arch quite dominant. And you can use your mascara wand as well, just using a Louise Young one just to push it back through again as well, just to check how your powder's coming along. So just keep checking how that's looking in terms of equal shape. You just want it to kind of match where the arch meets. Just make sure the eye is really clean, just close me. Just going a little bit into the eye to make sure, like I say, I've got a nice clean base. And I'm just going to use a small Real Techniques setting brush just to run a little bit of powder over the top of the eyelids as well, just to make sure that that's nice and matte before we start putting our design on. So just use a little bit of sweeping motion and a little bit of this under the eyes as well, just to set the concealer, because we're going to take a bit of our design under the eye as well. But any other powder we can do later. So I'm going to go on and use something I found recently from Bourgeois, which is called Intuitive Liner. And I don't know if you can see, but it has kind of like three sort of little, you can get 3 lines in one go, but it makes really nice effects for eye as well. So we're going to do an alternative kind of different eye look. So I'm just going to start making marks on Lewis's eye. And I'm just going to use this to make the patterns. And I'm going to start going through them as well, so it's kind of little shapes building up on the eye. And it almost makes like an animal print as well, which is quite nice. And just look at this. And then you can even do kind of like little mini eyelashes as well with it, which is quite cool. Just along the eye, and then I'm just going to pull that down as well, so that they start crossing over each other. Other eye as well. Okay. So you just start building up. You can make such nice techniques with this. And it's quite a little fun thing to do if you wanted a Halloween look or just something, a different way of using liner pens. Just look up. So just drawing down as if you're kind of drawing little eyelashes and then just going over the technique. So just pulling it, like elongating the eye as well as we're doing it. Just so it's quite a, just getting loads of those little strokes, and then you can start going over the strokes you've made as well, like an animal print almost. And you can pull down where you kind of created your lashes, sort of in the middle as well. And just make those a little bit longer. Just draw over them and just be quite, you don't have to be too perfect with it. And I want it kind of so that there's almost more straight across the top and then kind of blending outwards. So if we kind of do a contour, we can bring that in together. So I'm going to take a little bit of black coal actually, just to blend into that. So I'm going to use Barrier number 1, which is their super soft eye crayon. Just look at this. And I'm just going to take that into the waterline, and I'm going to blend that out a little bit. A little wink. Look up for me. And this is a really nice eye crayon for such a good price. I think it's like £4, please. And you can get such a good, and I'm just going along the lash line as well on top, just to kind of blend that in a little bit more as well. And then I'm just going to blend that ever so slightly with a number 2 NARS brush, just a little dome brush. So just look up for me. Just taking what's left. And it dries quite quickly, this pen as well, so you don't need to worry too much about kind of disrupting the patterns you've already made and close. And then again, just a little bit into that lash line. Just push it into the roots. We're not going to do mascara for this. So it'll make blue eyes look really nice and blue as well and get quite a cool effect. And then for the lip, I'm going to do something a little bit fun. I'm going to use this NARS, this is kind of like a highlight pencil, and it's just really nice on sort of the top V of the lip. So it will just give a really nice ping of light and a nice highlighting, because I don't really want to do proper lips on Lewis. I just want to just highlight certain areas. So I'm just going to use that down there. And then for the lip brush, I'm just going to pull it in a little bit to blend, but not, I want it to look like it's meant to be there. Okay, so to finish, I'm just going to apply a little bit more of the NARS powder that I used earlier, just using a artist brush. And then we're going to add a little bit of the contour, and then we will leave it as that. So I'm just going to take a bit of my MAC palette with my Sculpt colours, and just using a dome brush by Real Techniques, just going to add a subtle, just a bit of contour down the cheekbones and into the temple. And that's the finished look. So something fun to try, just a way you can work with a different graphic liner. It's a really inexpensive eyeliner, but you can make really nice kind of texture with it. So whether you're using it as a strip across the eye or to make a whole eye design, try it out.